Hey, what's up everybody? Wicked here, bringing you my review of Final Fantasy 1 Pixel Remaster. And yes guys, I'm back with making reviews. My 2024 New Year's revolution was to get back into making more types of videos besides just Let's Plays. That being said, I'm going to be reviewing every game I beat in 2023 that I wasn't able to review previously. That being said, let's start the year off right with a timeless classic that shaped the world of JRPGs with Final Fantasy 1 Pixel Remaster. Now guys, I want to be completely transparent with you and say that this review will be based off my first ever playthrough of Final Fantasy 1. As some may know, I wasn't always into playing RPGs, so I never got the chance to play all these classics until recently. So I don't have the same nostalgia for this game as others, but despite that, I can confidently say I enjoyed this game greatly. Like in all my reviews, I start with the story, and well, to be honest, I wasn't the biggest fan of the story. Now, I know it's the first game in the series and they were still new to creating vast worlds and storytelling, but I still think it could have been a lot better. I can definitely see why people like it, and I can see how this game shaped the foundation of Final Fantasy, but still guys, this was just your typical cliche gather the crystals and save the world plot. It was no means bad, but in today's age where I played it, the game just doesn't hold up. But again, for the time it released, I can see why it's so fondly looked after. There are some things in the story that I really do enjoy, like the time traveling aspects and defeating the 4 lords. I thought all that was really cool, but still, it's just very basic and cliched at the end of the day. Now I want to talk about the characters, and I gotta say I have mixed feelings on the characters. On one hand, I love the thought of creating my own characters, my own party, and setting up their own story in my head to play out in the game. Since they are pretty much a blank slate, I like doing that. But on the other hand, I also dislike that because for me, my favorite part of any RPG is falling in love with the characters and seeing them grow and be shaped into characters I either really love or really hate. Perfect example would be in Tales of Symphonia. I really love Colette and I really hate Genus. And since Final Fantasy 1 lets you create your main cast, it makes me feel like they are just flat and picture perfect characters. What I mean by that is and they're based off of what you pretty much make them out to be, and they can be as perfect or flawed as you want, if that makes sense to you guys at all. Again, I like the concept of creating my own team, but I also hate it because it takes away from the enjoyment of seeing the cast grow, like in other games that are newer. On top of that, the NPCs in the world are just okay. None of them really stood out to me at all and was just there to move the player along, which, again, this game came out in 1987? That's to be expected for a game this old, but I think the NPCs could have been a lot more diverse, vast, and fun to actually interact with, and they just weren't. Lastly, the main villain of Final Fantasy 1 was really just your basic bad guy, take over the world and do all this, stupid, we've seen main villains like this in plenty of other RPGs. It's not bad, like I said, because it was released in 1987 and they were still new to it, but playing it today in today's age, I can easily say I don't think the story and characters really hold up to our expectations today. But what does hold up is the gameplay. And honestly, when I first started Final Fantasy 1, I was kind of nervous. I wasn't going to like the combat much at all. But that being said, I think the combat in the game is fantastic. It's your classic turn-based combat where you select all your moves for your characters, and then they act upon the moves you select based on speed, which is awesome. I like that. It set the foundation for Final Fantasy ATB system, which was my main worry going into this game, honestly, because I knew Final Fantasy was big on ATB, but I did not know when they started the system. Found out it's in Final Fantasy IV. Like, I really like how simple and basic it was to get into, but also it had so much depth. It was like really in depth with your character classes and what abilities and magic they can learn and get. I really love building my team based on these different classes, and you can have all these different playthroughs. Like you can have 4 white mages, 4 red mages if you wanted. You can have such a diverse selection of classes, which made it a lot of fun. That being said, the one negative I have in this game, it's way too easy. I know it was made back in 1987 and didn't really know how to balance gameplay like they do today, but still, the game is so easy. You can mash the attack button and occasionally heal with your white mage and get through the game no problem. But even still, I think anyone will have a fantastic game. Fantastic time, I should say, with the combat offered here. Now, lastly, I want to talk about the music, which, honestly, guys, you already know me in my reviews. Music is the least important thing in any JRPG for me. I like listening to music in the soundtracks in the games, but at the end of the day, I don't care too much if the soundtrack is good or bad. It does not take my enjoyment away or bring me any more enjoyment than it would otherwise. I will say Final Fantasy always has fantastic music. I do enjoy the music in the game. And for being the very first Final Fantasy, I think they did a great job with the soundtrack. It doesn't do anything spectacular like in newer games, but it doesn't drop the ball at all. It sets the mood it wants to set, and it does a great job doing so. But yeah, like I said, I don't care about music as much as other people might, so it's not the biggest focus when I'm playing the game. So that's why when I do reviews, music is like the lowest on my priority. Alright guys, that's pretty much my review. My final thoughts are Final Fantasy 1 did a great job creating that foundation and the blueprint pretty much of future Final Fantasies. And I can see from the newest game, the elements from the first game are still in the other Final Fantasies in different ways, and I really appreciated that for Final Fantasy 1. I love the combat in the game, the characters and NPCs, the story was basic, bare bones, but that combat, the variety of classes you can create, the variety of different playthroughs you can have, makes Final Fantasy probably the best 6 out of 10 game I can ever give. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was really short, but it was a perfect length for me because the story and characters wasn't anything special. I was ready to move on to the next game. Final Fantasy 1, you get a 6 out of 10 for me. And that's it, guys. I want to thank you all for watching this video. If you did like the video, hit the like button, subscribe for more JRPG reviews, subscribe for more Let's Play videos. I have a bunch of Let's Plays on the channel right now. Go check them out if you're interested. And stay tuned for my next review of another timeless classic Final Fantasy game. And until then, stay wicked.